Okay, I'm not an engineer. So today we are going to have a talk about business and the way I use technology to help business do things better. So you are going to see things. You are going to say, maybe, Frank, what you are showing is suck. Technically, it doesn't make sense. But I've been in technology since 1999. And this is where I'm going today. I'm going to show you an application I developed in my garage using n8n and LLM. And I learned this world 4 years ago with a young kid of 18 years old. He told me anything, and he gave me the enjoy to do it. And now I'm trying to move what I've learned into an enterprise world. So I'm just going to show you what I know and what talk to C-level executive. So how do you move dashboard to agentic AI? And to be honest also, I teach AI. I'm a professor at the University of Santa Clara. I teach for the CX University, and I enjoy it. But I don't have your technical background, okay? But I can learn from you anyway. At the end, you will see, and maybe you have questions and we can talk about that. But the idea today is really based on the important questions, and I'm going to tell you what problem I'm solving. Every company is facing a huge problem today. They invest, but they don't know what they are going to get. You invest and you don't know the return on investment. And that is a fact. Why? Does anyone have the answer when I say why? When you invest, you don't know the ROI. Nobody wants to raise their hand. It's simple. It's because you play the game with historical data. So you play with the data that you manage over the year. You don't think about the future. And today with AI, you have a way to do it. And I'm going to show you the way that you can move. I answer questions. The CEO came to me. He said, Frank, I did 1 billion in 20 years. I want to do 1 billion for the next 5 years in additions. Can you do that? Can you help me doing that? And the answer was yes, because I built a model where you plug your data and you use AI to do the reasoning for you. And AI is going to accelerate your performance. And he's going to tell you the truth. Because when he said that to me, my point was, let me check where you are today with your data. And I'm going to tell you how much you need to invest, where you need to invest in order to get the result you want. Maybe you will not do 1 billion, maybe you will do 750, but it's okay. But the point is, I'm not talking with assumptions. I'm talking reals. So the most important factor today when you talk to a CEO, a CFO, a CIO, it's revenue, net profit, enterprise value. I signed a deal last Tuesday in San Diego. Cybersecurity company was spending $3 million every year investing in AWS. The CEO is in the room. I asked the questions. What is interesting for you in our discussions? Frank, I want to operate this business efficiently. We spend more than $3 million in supporting AWS. And my partner is the guy who go inside and can save 15, 18, 20%. So what is 20% of 3 million? I let you do the math. And you know how they pay us? Just by performance. We don't charge. We do a free diagnostic and they get that. I'm not saying that because I'm selling the service. I'm just saying what the CEO was asking for. Because in a room, I have the VP of engineering. I have the CFO, I have the CEO. And so you have to have 3 talk. 1, to make the VP of engineering comfortable about what you are going to do. The CEO needs to want to hear the number. And the CFO wants to understand where the money is going and what is going to save his balance sheet. So here we live in a world of illusion. You have a MarTech stack, you have a tech stack, you have a CDP, you have AWS, you have a CRM system, you have tag management system, and you think you are good. But in fact, you use this system to understand what happened. That's the past. It's not going to help you. So the real problem, it's not the data. It's the decision problems. Of course, if the data is everywhere, you're not going to make it. Definitively not. But if your system is set up properly and you go use AI to do business in a better way, you are going to turn the way you create dashboard for the future. And you will be able to forecast what your company is making today and what is making in the next 3 years. If HackerOne today give me the data, I will be able to do that. But it's true, and I've done that for 30 years. You forecast growth without visibility. That's a fact. You allocate budget without predicting outcome. In November 2013, I talked with the CFO of 24 Fitness, 450 Club in US. He come to me. I'm a senior director of online digital transformations. I'm supposed to run the campaign. You know what he say to me? He said, Franck, we are in a deep shit. We are not making the numbers. Can you make, if we invest, can you make the number? And I say, yes. And he's pushing me. And at the end, I say, you know what? I'm not going to do anything for you. We are not going to do any marketing. And we see how the business ran. I was so tired. Why? Because I have no proof. I couldn't go back to the CFO and say, hey, you put $1, we are going to do 6. That has been my life since 1999. CEO, whoever they are, stakeholder, ask for the number all the time. So you are in the spot as an engineer, you work in the back. And someone is cool, but when you are in the front of the business, life sometimes is very difficult. So when I say again, the data is not the problem, it's a decision problem. So what if you know before how much you are going to make? So I created a growth performance system. You can test it today. I'm not asking for you to do it, but I developed this AI application, like I said, in my garage. You go online, you fill the form, and I will tell you with your data, what will be your customer lifetime value, what should be your churn rate, what should be your net profit, what should be your sales, what should be the cost, and do you need resources to do that? So the growth performance system now is going to be portable. But before I go portable, I worked for 2 years in Dubai for a startup. I launched an educational platform online. And it took me 5 months to set up all the technology, do the personalizations, run the show. And by being scientific, I was able to reach a 500% ROI. I did 3 million the first year. I increased engagement by 25%. So in a commercial way, it's huge. Usually we talk about 2-5% max, and I was able to do that. The way I did it, it's through this ROI compass. Like I say, I'm not talking engineer, but I'm going to talk about when you become an engineer and when you work for business, this is the way I come. I took the customer, I take you. I look at how you go through the process of knowing my brand, buying the product. And I look at all the customer lives, from brand awareness to post-transactions. There is 2 things you need to understand. You do development, whatever you do, we all work for a customer. If your customer is happy, is satisfied, this is how you make money. This is how you make your return on investment. You cannot have a customer unsatisfied and grow your profit. One company is going to pay the price, by the way, is Southwest. I don't know if you're familiar with Southwest, they changed their model. This model piss off people because they lost their mindset. Now everything become a money machine for Southwest. You pay your ticket, you pay an addition fee for your seat, and if you go to the front desk and your bag is £22 instead of £20, you pay more. Southwest in 2011 was the company that went through the Chapter 11. They didn't do it. I was at United Airlines, we went it. Why that? It's because they have a mission, they have a vision, and they have one fleet. They have a super satisfaction of the customer. Today they broke it. Why? Because they want to do profit. It's not going to work. So next year, come back and we can talk about it. But the point is, here's the technical part that I've done. This is the implementation of the tech stack I designed and implemented. Everything based on Salesforce, AWS, Einstein for personalization engine, and I plug CDP. CDP was very important because it was allowing me to collect and do what you call in your jargon, ID resolutions, ID graph. I wanted to have all the data from the customer in real times. I wanted to understand all the profile of the customer that visit my website, reach my ad. I wanted to be aware of it in order to communicate the right way with them. When I did this implementation, the number I show you, they were great. But when I did this implementation in Dubai, it was the beginning of ChatGPT, OpenAI. Today, I move it to what we call Agentic AI. So in this architecture, I decided to plug Agentic AI. So I wanted to optimize an AI agent to be dynamic. What it means is I wanted the AI agent to take the data, analyze it, benchmark the industry, go back to me with the answer of the problem I have. It gave me the answer. So I think the reason I'm here today, it's because of the vision of Agentic AI I apply for this organization to be super successful. We can have a lot of debate about MCP, about LLM, about AWS. So when I developed this application, it was on n8n. It took me 3 months. It's very rigid. Moving this way, I decided to embrace AWS. And you want to know why? It's because in this architecture, the data I need to use is stored in AWS. So the CDP platform does the ID resolutions and the ID graph happen in AWS. Redshift is there. But when I talk about MCP, it's because I wanted to create a dashboard to predict the future, the next 3 years, and understand what was not working or working. So the architecture you have allow me any times to trigger the dashboard for the CEO, the CFO, the CMO, and all goes in front. The orchestration is done by AWS. I developed the LLM model based on my subject matter. I am not in finance, but in numbers, in business. And with this LLM, with this AWS connections, and with MCP, I minimize the impact of the cost of the technology. Meaning, I'm not working with API. I'm just streaming with MCP. I'm just communicating. The full work is with AWS. And I use Bedrock, Lambda, all the tools that we have in AWS. In that, can I do that differently? Yes, I can do it differently. I can still use an n8. But for different reasons, there is pro and cons. And I'm a firm believer that when you go for simplifications, it's always better in technology. Like I say, I use LLM for reasoning, MCP for integrations, and n8n, and I put n8n plus AWS for orchestrations. And you may have your point of view. And I will tell you, there is no one right answer. Never, especially in this world. Because we still do not have a PhD in AI or in generative AI yet. So we have to wait a little bit because we get some, but today, no. And yes, it's true. Today, it's ready for scale. I'm going to work with big corporations to help these corporations get better. And like I say, when you have a CEO that come to you and say, hey, I'm going to give you another example. It's an organization working CX, customer experience. And he said, Franck, we invest $millions in customer experience, training people. I have no clue today about how much money I make. So when I train customer support, I don't know if we are more efficient, more productive, if we solve the problems. So that is the business issue today that I'm trying to solve. And this is why I developed that. So I shift to a decision intelligence, which means you think about reporting from the past and simulating the future. I bet you if tomorrow you come to me and you give me your data for your startup, I'm pretty sure I will be able to help you. And I will tell you, based on your competitors on the market, what you could do and what you could do better. So that's it. So my point is, I start this application last year. I used an n8 when he was there. I learned AI on my own with the kids. I've been in this space for 4 years. And I think a lot of business don't see still the impact. And people are confused when we talk about AI, when we talk about RAG. I don't talk about RAG. I talk about knowledge base. And I'm going to give you another example that's fascinating to me. I'm a professor, like I say, and I teach CX around the world. I have students in Dubai, students in Australia, students in US, in Europe, in Africa. And I cannot be available 24/7. So what I've done is I created a chatbot. So I use DeFi, if you're familiar with this platform. I use their RAG system. I put my prompt. I put all my knowledge. And today you have a mini me accessible 24/7. But here's the beauty of it. It took me a day to do it. But if you are from Dubai and you speak only Arabic, you can dialogue in Arabic. If you're French, do it in French. I didn't do the translation. AI did it for me. That's the power of AI today, is accelerating your performance. So when you look at the system I implemented, and I'm trying to do, is the same. I'm not asking organizations to invest in technology. I'm just optimizing the way they do it. But in order to make this work, the foundation of the data is critical. If you have the data in AWS and some other place, I will be using a different orchestration of the process, for sure. Yeah, that's it for me. I know that it's more a business approach, but yeah,